Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, happy Sunday. It's just my luck that the weekend finally comes and I'm too drained to even get out of the bed, so I'm recording this in bed. But part of the reason I got to where I am today is because of how unpopular my views are in the first place. Let me uh, try to give a big picture of what's going on. So, and that's why I want to change my last name to Dislike because I learned the hard way these last few years, especially ever since COVID, that whether or not we are successful in life has very little to do with whether or not we are doing productive things in life and more to do with whether or not we are popular. So I teach at a community college right now, and technically, technically we're supposed to have some flexible schedules, but the reality is only the people who have popular views get to take any time off of work, right? People who have less popular views are expected to fill in for everybody else, right? Let me give you an example. I uh, I have colleagues who have children who are married and all that, and so it's always popular for them to spend time with their family, right? I had a colleague who just took some family members to Disney World, right? Can you imagine if I tried to take a week or two off because of something else that I like to do, right? Fortunately, most of my activities are very short, right? But imagine I wanted to go, uh, s- uh, for example, next month we have the Arizona State Fair. I would so much love to make a scene because the Arizona State Fair has this weird policy that makes it really difficult to get on rides of if you go on there alone, right? I talked about this in other videos. I would so much love to make a protest scene in regard to that, but I haven't been able to practice that just yet because I don't want to get in trouble and miss work, right? Imagine I get detained for a day or two, and I can only imagine how how it would go down if I missed a day of work and I went back 2 days later and said, you know what, I spent a night detained because I tried to raise some awareness about equity for singles. I cannot imagine that going down well with the community college. I have novel views. They might not be wrong, but they're novel, right? Meanwhile, my colleague gets to take a whole week to go to Disney World, right? It just doesn't add, right? Not because Disney World is a better idea than standing up for singles' rights. It's just more popular. It's more relatable. It's something that everybody has done, or at least thought about wanting to do, know somebody who has done, right? 2 years ago, I was working at a tutoring center, and in 2023, the Super Bowl was being played here in Phoenix, right? AT&T Stadium, I think. I forgot what the name was, but it was played here, and most of my colleagues, I don't think any of my colleagues went to see the Super Bowl at the stadium, but they wanted to take the Monday off after the Super Bowl because they wanted to drink, they wanted to have a party, whatever the situation is. Now, in an ideal world, I wanted that day off too, not because I liked the Super Bowl, quite the opposite. I didn't want to deal with the traffic and the noise level of being in Phoenix. If I had it my way, I should have taken a trip somewhere else that week and stayed until at least Tuesday before coming back to avoid all the drama. But good luck trying to get my boss to understand that concept, right? He's a very extroverted guy. He's 73 years old. And it just goes to show that neither side is right or wrong, but there's a right and left to it, right? It's not right or wrong in our society, it's right or left, right? And it just sucks to be on the wrong side of that equation, right? Uh, and then the month after that Super Bowl was being played, uh, we had another week where Taylor Swift was performing in the Phoenix area. I can't remember what city. This was before Taylor Swift had started dating Travis Kelsey. And so these were two separate events. Taylor Swift was performing in Phoenix, and once again, I would have loved to get out of the area. The other reason I wanted to get out of the area was that most of my students were actually away that week. Not only was Taylor Swift in town, I think it might have also been spring break week for the school, and I stayed behind because most of my uh, colleagues were also away. It was spring break. Now, it was not a very busy week, but it was still a very essential week, right? The students who needed tutoring, after all, needed tutoring that week. And I stayed behind. And what was really insulting was because of how sparse the hours were, I get a check at the end of the week for $85 altogether, and which is frustrating because it's not like the week was any easier. I still had to commute to the center, and if anything, the students who came, they needed much more support during that week. So it just goes to show that it because of my unpopular views and hobbies and events and quirks and interests in life, I often get the short end of the stick just because I'm unpopular. And that's what I mean when I say the Peter dislike show, right? Uh, it's not that I'm doing anything wrong, but because I'm doing things that are disliked or at least misunderstood by so many people, I often get shafted, right? And it's really unfortunate, right? The same also happens in the dating world, right? I want to meet somebody as a life partner, but unfortunately, everything always descends into sex and marriage and romance. Oh, marriage might be fine, but I want a friendship kind of marriage, romance, and having children and all the rest, and also people are just so noisy, right? And too many dates revolve around going to noisy events like the Super Bowl, like Taylor Swift concerts, and I just want a life partner, and unfortunately that's a very unpopular view, and so I often get shafted right there as well. And so unfortunately uh, fuck the so-called unlimited vacation policy. It's only unlimited if your view is popular, right? That's the problem, right? I'd much rather have X number of days of vacation that I don't have to justify to somebody, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. bum. the, the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.